Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to episode number 13 of the CQRS course. In this episode, I have decided to talk about behaviors, which is another concept when it comes to developing an application using the MediatR library and the CQRS pattern. So first, I'm going to go to my notes. I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic of behaviors. We're going to then go to our Visual Studio and we're going to see this in action. So here we're going to talk about behaviors, which are very similar to middlewares in ASP.NET Core. They allow you to implement cross-cutting concerns like logging, validation, authorization without repeating your code in every handler. So suppose there are some items that need to be implemented in different parts of your application. These are called cross-cutting concerns, like for example, logging, validation, authorization. You do not need to duplicate your code for logging. You can use behaviors from the MediatR library and implement these cross-cutting concerns very easily. So behaviors, right, they intercept the processing pipeline of a request or notification. As I said, very similar to middlewares in ASP.NET Core. And because this course is not about ASP.NET Core, I'm not going to get into the topic of middlewares. And I assume you're already familiar with this. If not, you can check out my other videos so that you get a better idea of what middlewares are. Anyway, so behaviors intercept and do some processing inside of the pipeline of handling requests and notifications. Now we are going to see a real example to better understand what behaviors can do for us. Creating our logging behavior. Create a new folder called behaviors. Inside of this folder, we're going to add a class called logging behavior. Let's take a look at this. It's a little bit complicated. I think more complicated than queries, commands, and notifications, but we're gonna talk about it, no worries. So as you can see, this is a generic class. Logging behavior, it is declaring two type parameters, tRequest, tResponse, and it is using or implementing this interface, which is coming from the iMediatR from the MediatR library. It is called iPipeline behavior, right? And tRequest, as you can see here, right, needs to be a type that implements the iRequest interface, which you are already familiar with. iRequest is a generic interface, and in this case, it needs to be it needs to be an instance. This tRequest needs to be an instance of iRequest with this generic type parameter tResponse. So I know that this is too much to take in. Pause the video, think about it. And then, after we see behaviors in action, everything will become crystal clear. Let's continue. We are, by the way, implementing a logger behavior. So logging is a cross-cutting concern inside of our application. We do not want to duplicate our logging code. We want to implement it using behaviors. So let's do this. As you can see here, I've got my constructor, right? And I've got this private read-only field of type iLogger. And this is the type parameter of this logger. Logging behavior, tRequest, tResponse. And logging behavior is, of course, the type that we are dealing with right now. Is the type of our class, is our class, tRequest, tResponse, which are coming from here, right? So this is the iLogger. And this is our, constructor. So inside of our constructor, we are going to, of course, declare a dependency of type iLogger, logging behavior, tRequest, tResponse, and then we are going to capture this inside of our iLogger. And then, like commands and queries, we've got this handle method. This handle method is going to take in a T request, which is of course the request, and it is going to get this request handler delegate, which kind of references the next behavior that is supposed to be invoked. It is of type request handler delegate, right? And of course, we've got our cancellation token. Now, let's see what we are doing here. Here we are using our logger. We're going to use log information, and then we're going to, log this type of T request.name. And then we are going to call this next delegate, right? We are going to await it, right? And we're going to capture the result inside of a response object. And then here in the next logging thing, we are going to say handled T response name. And then we are going to return the response that we got here. So I told you, when you see this in action, things will become clearer. Let's take a look at my code. This is my project, right? So inside of my so do I need to go to episode 13 or 12? Yep, behaviors. This is the logging behavior. Yep, this is the code we just talked about. So take a moment, because I know it is a little bit difficult to understand at first glance. Just, take your time with it. Pause the video for a moment, read the code, and understand what it is doing, or at least try to get some idea of what it is doing. Now let's get back to our note. So this is the logging behavior. It is a class that implements this, interface that we talked about. And this interface defines the handle method that takes in the incoming request, a delegate next, which represents the next step in the pipeline, typically the actual handler, and then a cancellation token. Our behavior, this is what our behavior actually does. So it is going to log a message before calling the next delegate and another message after it returns the response. This behavior can be applied to any request that returns a response indicated by iRequestTResponse. So now this is only one half of implementing a behavior for a cross-cutting concern like logging. The next step, of course, is to be able to use this. And after we use this, you will see the beauty of this, because it can help reduce a lot of code duplication. So without behaviors, for something as simple as logging, you will have a lot of duplicated code. But when you implement your logging using behaviors in CQRS, you will see that you've got this single behavior implemented once, and then you will be able to reuse it many times. And that is the beauty of behaviors. Behaviors kind of encapsulate a cross-cutting concern like logging, and then they can be reused inside of your application, because what they do is basically intercept your request pipeline, and they add logging based on the logic you have added to the handle method. In this case, I told you, in the handle method, take a look here. In the handle method, we are doing two logging things, right? So basically, what we are doing is that we are logging a message before the before calling the next, and then we are logging another message after we have called that. And again, if you continue watching the videos in the next episode, episode number 14, you will see that by using this behavior, I can get my logging implemented very easily, and you will see the behavior of the beauty of behaviors. I'm gonna stop this video now. Thank you so much for watching this till the very end. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're not done yet. I told you this is only half of the story. The next half is to be able to make use of this, behavior that we've got. So stay tuned and make sure you watch the next video as well. Take care and bye-bye.